More violence in the occupied West Bank town of Huwara. Israeli settlers stormed the Palestinian town on Monday night, apparently celebrating a Jewish holiday. Young and old were targeted indiscriminately. This Palestinian family had been out shopping when they came under attack. They needed hospital treatment for their injuries after being hit by stones.
We were just leaving the supermarket and I was about to start a car when they start throwing stones, and I then realized it was the settlers. They hit me on the head and then they sprayed gas in the car. Look at my young daughter. She's 2 years old. She was barely able to open her eyes. Finally, she managed after almost 2 hours. My father was also hit by stones. There were bullets fired at the vehicle too. I honestly can't recall how I managed to start the car and drive off to save my family.
Later in the evening, Israeli soldiers were filmed dancing with settlers. The Israeli army has said it will open an investigation. Huwara is one of several Palestinian towns surrounded by illegal Israeli settlements with a large military base nearby. Israeli settlers have carried out at least 300 attacks in the occupied West Bank in recent weeks. Those attacks came after a Palestinian gunman opened fire on an Israeli vehicle driving through the town, killing 2 brothers. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called on settlers not to take the law into their own hands. But Palestinians say that law only protects Israelis and there is no accountability for settler attacks. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
Well, let's bring in Nida Ibrahim now. She joins us now from Ramallah. And Nida, how surprising is it to see these Israeli soldiers celebrating with settlers after these attacks against Palestinians?
The fact that it's caught on camera kind of shows what Palestinians have been saying for years, that if the army doesn't encourage the settler attacks in the occupied West Bank, it usually overlooks it. Because we've seen many cases where in Palestinian villages, nearby illegal Israeli settlers, we see Israeli settlers going into those villages, attacking Palestinians, often armed. These settlers have access to weapons. Palestinians are often unarmed. They're trying to defend their lands, and they're often surprised by the Israeli army basically turning a blind eye towards these settlers that often attack Palestinians. But the fact that we've seen that on camera has prompted the Israeli army to say it's launching an investigation. This is a term that we've used and they've used over and over again when it happens that such violations take place on camera and are shared on social media. But for Palestinians, they would tell you that they know this narrative for years and years. We're talking about around 3 settlers attacks each day on average, according to the UN figure. This is the highest number in 2 decades. Palestinians would tell you that the settlers have been emboldened by the lack of transparency, lack of accountability, rather. So they've been launching attacks, and the latest of which we've seen in Huwara that doesn't seem to be ending. As Palestinians were telling us overnight, the settlers were coming in Huwara, and the fact that they're attacking them, Palestinians feel that they're helpless, they're left alone, facing armed settlers who are often enjoying the support of the Israeli army.
OK, Nida Ibrahim joining us there from Ramallah. Thanks very much, Nida.